सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीं अष्टादशाध्यायिनीं अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि। भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to you all. We are listening, we are deliberating upon these verses from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, from the 18th chapter, Ashtadashodhyayah. And we are here in some set of verses where Bhagwan is explaining to Arjuna these various faculties and their differentiation, what qualifies them one to be distinct from another, being sattvic, rajasic or tamasic. And the idea behind this is, if it is sattvic, it will lead to your spiritual liberation. It will cause the organic growth. Spiritual liberation, many times we sometimes make it that concept as if it is something detached from our reality, something hypothetical, something imaginary, something in heaven, and which is not of imminent importance, of imminent reality, of imminent relevance. But if it is seen, if we try to understand it, rather spirituality is so rooted in reality, if it is detached from reality, it cannot become spiritual. That's how practical it is. So, your all organic growth or natural growth, all this excellence, that becomes very much the domain and dominion of spirituality. So spirituality would cause your real growth. Anything other than spirituality, you might do something which you will have to regret, which is otherwise it would be loss of effort, time and mind, or otherwise it would be something that you would regret, even not doing something. Like tamas, it will cause indolence, it will cause completely wrong understanding, it will cause that moha, and all those kinds of ideas will come by tamas, and when you indulge into it, taken over and carried away by it, you will have to regret when you come to your senses that what a damage I might have done. Not only damage you might be doing only to yourself, suppose like by your laziness, indolence, slothfulness, not doing promptly something, not acting on to something when there was time. But you will also damage the world around you, because you acted like that. Now people trust you less, they respect you less, so nobody want to come forward to cooperate with you, to collaborate with you, to join hands with you, because you didn't act in time, because of your laziness. Can you imagine? So not only you damage or something, so you cannot say that my life, my rules, I want to sleep on till 12 o'clock. You will have to pay. So when other people's lives are involved, so you would be paying the cost. So that would be something you would regret. So rajas is different. So it is not like tamas, but still it is not sattva. Sattva comes from the real understanding, real sorting out of the things, real simplification of the things. That's what it is characterized by sattva. When sattva comes, it brings the clarity. It brings the clarity. How much ever tedious the path may be, how much ever slow the process may be, sattva will tell you that. Sattva will, with great, its quality is, even with that troubles and efforts and that slow speed and patient endurance, it will bring you bliss. Why bliss is there? Though you are not doing something spectacular, because you know that you are real, you are in the Guru, and every step, every breath of yours is going to count as growth. It is not true with rajas and tamas. That's a great difference. In rajas, person is usually taken over by the arrogance and the ego, and he goes for the flimsy thing which doesn't have a lasting impact or lasting endurance, reality. Substantialness is not there. That's what happened in rajas. So, explaining these things, what is happened when somebody is taken over by one of these three qualities? When the same qualities, even when Bhagavan has discussed until now here, jnana, karma, karta, and then he took another two qualities, buddhi, and now which we took in the last class, now we will take dhruti. Now, this dhruti means, dhruti is something by which you endure, that is endurance, fortitude, that is dhruti. And now, so to say, we can say in one word that it's a great quality. But Bhagavan says, no, even that thing, if it is colored by one of the three gunas, one of the three qualities, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, how it will behave and where it will function, it will differ. And depending upon that, how that person, whether it will cause his growth, his liberation, or he would be entangled into unkind of fussiness, that is rajas, because of confusion, or he will take totally degenerative path because of tamas. So here we discuss these. Now dhruti. So here it is said, Bhagavan says, dhrutya yaya dharayate mana pranendriya kriya yogena vyabhicharinya. So yogena avyabhicharinya dhruti sa partha satviki. So this is the verse number 33rd in this 18th chapter. Dhrutya. Dhru means to hold. That's why we have the word in Hindi language, dharna, dharo. Comes again from the dhruti. इसी से शब्द बना है धारणा भी, धारणा. When you hold, you can form the concept, dharayate. So, like if you put on clothes, even it is called, that's why we use the word paridhana. है ना, दादर में आज भी कुछ शॉप्स के नाम है वैसे, परिधान. So, paridhana, it comes from the again same root. Paridharyate. Yena sa paridhana. So, peri means covering, which again related to word, another English similar word, perimeter. So dhruti here, what is said, what is the concept of satviki dhruti? Which dhruti or that inner faculty by which you endure or by which you have fortitude. Which kind of fortitude we are talking here? Then he says, by which you can withhold, dharayate, by which you can endure. In what? He says, manah pranendriya kriyaha. So, actions of mana, prana and indriya, of these three. But not just any. Here a special case is mentioned. That special case is yogena avyabhicharinya. When you are pursuing yoga, so of any sort, or especially the yoga of meditation, what you will require is that full cooperation, full faith of these inner faculties of yours, they being mana, your prana and indriya. All these, they must cooperate, they must be fully integrated and invested into your resolve. It is not that you want to meditate and they don't want to. Then what will happen? So, you are closing your eyes and now your body is twitching. You feel hungry. You feel like that I should have a little bit of, drink water, or my stomach is bloated. This thing, that thing, whether I should do this, whether I should do that, or you are remembering this thing. Neither your mind, neither your prana. So, they do pranayama so that prana should rhythmically function, so that it will help you concentrate your mind. प्राणायाम कर लो तो एकदम मन शांत हो जाता है क्या? हम बोलते जरूर है. So we have that what we are expecting from meditation, that kind of concentration and that kind of cooperation from the mind. To that degree we are not pushing. If we try to push, and then we will understand how much our mind is within our reach and within our control. As soon as you try to grind little more, you want to put little more pressure, if you want to hold it at one point for a little bit longer duration, and then you will see the suffocation and restlessness of your mind. So it has to be trained, and in this pursuit, unless that person has got his fortitude, his dhruti, his endurance, reached by sattva, he will not be able to persist in that business. Then that dhruti is, so without dhruti nobody can become spiritual aspirant, therefore. Because here failure is everyday business. How you will be constantly persuading, constantly persevering? Where from you bring that patience and passion both. You have passion, you have patience, and you are continuously persuading. These three elements are required in spiritual life. If you do not have any one of them, you have patience, you are also persuading, means you are trying to do your effort. You do not have passion, you do not have life, cannot be attained. You have passion, but you do not have passion, forget about patience, and then forget about it. क्योंकि बहुत पैशन है, अभी मैं कल जाकर 8 घंटे ध्यान करता हूं, कल ही समाधि प्राप्त कर लूंगा. And nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to budge. You are going to make fool of yourself. You have passion, you have patience, but there is a lack of persuasion. कि मतलब क्या? हाँ, बहुत भावना है और बहुत willingness है कि हाँ, I am ready to wait till the end of time. Lack of persuasion means you are not acting on what you are saying, what you are believing. You are not taking the step. You are not trying. You are not bringing it into, you are not doing what? Nididhyasat. You are simply having khayali pulao, castles in the air, that kind of person. You only have plans, you don't act. That is lack of persuasion. You have passion. बहुत मतलब पैशन से बोल दिया, बहुत पैशन से भाषण, पैशन से वीडियो सुन लिया, लेक्चर सुन लिया, है ना, बहुत मन में एकदम गर्म हो गया इधर, है ना, करेगा कुछ नहीं. Persuasion is not to doggedly pursue it, to bring it on the real ground and taste it. It is different thing. सपने देखना अलग बात है ना, जमीन पे उसको जीना अलग बात है. That thing is different. Becoming something hysterical, है ना, जय श्री राम या फिर something else, जय माता दी और जय बजरंग बली, that does not constitute. It has to be like a bull. You have to work. Minute by minute, second by second. This is not just emotional froth, emotional effervescence. So you have to start from here do you stand. And that kind of dhruti, that endurance in this business, that people, many times it happens with the people who go by, many times they are attracted by Vedanta. This constantly I have seen happening with the people who are got attracted by Vedanta. बाकी लोगों को ये प्रॉब्लम इतना फेस नहीं करना पड़ता. So why so? Because Vedanta, because Bhakti or Karma or Yoga, they are talking about something which we can do right now. ये भगवान है तो ऐसा है तो हम ऐसा ये करेंगे, वैसा करेंगे, स्टोरी करेंगे, बाकी स्टोरी सुनेंगे, ये करो, ऐसा करो, तो आज पूजा है, आरती है, इधर कुछ सेवा करो. कर्म योग में है, इधर ध्यान योग में तुमको ध्यान करने के लिए मुझे बोलेगा तो पहले थोड़ा आसन करो, प्राणायाम करो, शुद्ध जीवन यापन व्यतीत करो. But what Vedanta is talking about the acme of realization. कहां से चालू करते हैं हम? अपरोक्षानुभूति या फिर अष्टावक्र संहिता. What they are showing you, what it would be when you reach there. What about now? So then that part is, yes, of course, any path will have something to do, something to live with, but you will have to start from where you stand. And therefore, because these idealistic minds, so all the people all the spiritual aspirants, so especially the genuine one, who want to really do something about it, and they will have to face and resolve this frustration and come and dirty their hands in this mud and ditch, and from there they will have to work their way. Yes, that dream is never compromised. That ideal is never compromised. Yes, that is the thing we are working for. But you work here to reach there. That's how you go. So, and in these cases, only the person who has got that something from his previous birth, something accumulated, there are sanskaras, there are tendencies, leanings, disposition, that person. So that person alone will be able to endure. That dhruti is sattvic. In spiritual pursuit, yogena avyabhicharinya. अव्याभिचारिण्य इसका मतलब क्या? अभी मतलब अभी, which is considered, which is good, which is correct, which is authorized, which is proper. That is called as abhi. So abhichara would be something which is the right achara. That would be called as the correct way of doing things. Abhichara. Abhishta. Abhi-ishta. So, you are also desiring it, and which is also correct and appropriate. Not only you desire, your desire is correctly, your demand is correct. Abhishta. So, this is what I want to get. That is called as Abhishta. Abhichara. So, that is the course of action which is correct. Even you are following it, and suppose your teachers are there, mentors are there, your parents are there, other people are there who want to judge, yes, in this scenario, in this context, this is the correct code of conduct, abhichara. Now, vyabhichara. So, it comes with a prefix, V stands for viparita, abhichara. ये अभिचारा के विरुद्ध जो जाता है वो है व्याभिचारा. So, which is not the correct code of conduct. You might want to indulge into it, but it is not correct. On various metrics, on various criteria, this cannot be advised. Nobody can endorse it. Nobody can support this. That would be called as vyabhichara. Now, this is now negative term. Viparita, abhichara. Now, there is another one thing, avyabhichara, which is then again negating that negating thing. So, which is not vyabhichara. So, there could be any achara which is not condemned, which is not prohibitory. So, here yogena, here you want to practice that yoga, concentrate your mind and pursue something in this, to the desiring something higher, non-material, spiritual. That is yoga. Now, this you want to practice this yoga, and you are practicing it without swerving anything, without not going any other path which will, damage your own progress or your own growth. So you are doing exactly, and you are progressing constantly. That thing keeping in mind, that ideal keeping in mind, avyabhicharinya. Even Sri Ramakrishna has used this word couple of times in case of bhakti. Avyabhicharini bhakti. So that is like Shuddha, Satviki, fully committed bhakti to one ideal. That there is not a slightest of digression. Not a slightest of digression. Purest of the devotion. So here, what does it mean? So mana, prana and indriya, when in the practice of yoga, they are so immersed, engrossed and integrated in the resolve of that individual, of that aspirant, that there is not a slightest digression from the path. The object of meditation is pursued in that way, and the mind, the being which will be able to do that, hold his mind in this way and continue and endure in his practice in this way, that endurance, that fortitude will be called as sattvika fortitude. So here especially this fortitude is called sattviki because of its quality of the domain where it can work. It can work in the domain of here in the spiritual persuasion, spiritual practice. And this special kind of fortitude is referred by Bhagavan as sattvika fortitude, the highest kind of one. The highest kind of one, this endurance you require here when you want to practice spiritual discipline. Yoga is spiritual discipline. There the fortitude is required is the sattvika one. If you have that, and then that's why what happens is most of the people, you will see, means it will be our everyday experience. We go to temple, we go to some talk, class, and we listen probably some, see nice video or read some book. We get a great inspiration. We feel that yes, this is the correct thing. This is a great thing. I must do that. I understand that there is no problem. What is being said, I feel that yes, I must start from here. I should not waste my time, etc., etc., etc. And then we don't do. Why? It is not like that he was lying. He was fully sincere person. When he was believing that I must act upon that idea, he was sincere person. He was not lying, pretending. He was not trying to show up. Maybe everything he is thinking in his own heart. He is not telling or trying to show up someone. Right? Why he is not able to do that? Why he is not able to sum up that courage, put himself to the task and pursue that task when initially it is not that, very, very easy, very self-driving and giving immediate joy and happiness and bliss. It is not like that. Why he is not able to do that? Why he cannot push through that frustration, that dull period of dullness, and then arrive at his real rhythm groove where he want to arrive at. He is not imagining something incredulous thing कि आज ही मुझे भगवान का दर्शन हो जाएगा, फिर आज ही मुझे कोई समाधि हो जाएगी. No, he is not thinking like that. But even to his natural एक जहां पे वो आ सकता है, because he has past experience, that kind of quietude, that kind of peace, that kind of engrossment, absorption in repeating the name of God, in meditation, in his spiritual practice. Why is not? Because he might be now disconnected few days. Now he was simply not doing it. Now he want to do it. Why he is not able to arrive at his own point from where he has left? Why is not able to do that? That dhruti. This satvika is dhruti, that his heart is taken over by the rajas and tamas. And that's why he is not able to put in that effort. 5-10 मिनट होने के बाद आसन छोड़ के उठ जाता. ऐसा होता है ना? So these gunas are very, very dominant. Guna guneshu vartante iti matvana sadyate. So 14th chapter, earlier 7th chapter, 3rd chapter, since then they are talking about gunas. So how powerful they are, that everything is play of gunas. So without the grace of the Prakriti, the mother, the divine Shakti, so that's why people are not able to do something which they think are capable of. They want to, but they are still not able to. So this is Satvika Dhruti. Then it works in the domain of spiritual struggle. This endurance which comes handy or which is required in the domain of spiritual struggle, that endurance is, that fortitude is called as Satvika fortitude. Then the second one, Yayatu dharma kamarthan dhrutya dharayate arjuna prasangena phalakankshi dhruti sa partha rajasi. Now, here, now see this second person. Now, the person who is practicing spiritual discipline, he has already become inward and he is not demanding anything from the world. He is not demanding from the world. He has really arrived at spiritual life. Now this Rajasic person, he is not that kind of person. He has not arrived he has not developed into such spiritual being. So what he is still looking into the world. His still world is true, he still engaged in its pursuits, and he is still hankering after the world. But he has some faith in this, what we call as dharma. So dharma, artha and kama, these three. So dharma, kama, arthan. So dharma, artha and kama, these three things. So dharma, so which is the general philosophy, which is, so first endurance which we saw that works in spiritual struggle means it is related to moksha. Spiritual life is all about this moksha vidya. It is called as moksha. Now this dhruti comes in the domain of dharma, kama and artha. Dharma, kama and artha. So moksha tells about your spiritual ideal, spiritual world, spiritual struggle, etc. And for as long as, and dharma is based on this moksha vidya. Dharma gives you general philosophy and template how you must act in such a way that your actions, they would be attaining some objectives in this world referred to as kama, and what means you engage to obtain those objectives referred to as artha. So artha and kama, because world is real for you, so you will have desires of certain objects in the world, any kinds of desires. So those desires are called as kama. To fulfill those desires, you will have to engage in some kind of action, and that action will be supplicated by some kind of resources, including your mind, your willpower, your talk, your speech, your memory, your actions, not only wealth, money, land, people, your contacts, your cunningness, everything would be considered as artha or resources to fulfill your desires. Because this world is true, you are exclusive, you think this body, this is you, and this is different. That is not true for the person who has arrived at the spiritual life. That spiritual life begins with this understanding, Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. He is engaged in that pursuit. But for the person who is yet to arrive, he is guided by dharma. Says, no need to press on that individual. He is guided by dharma. World is real, your birth is real, your all clan and your lineage, everything is real, your relations are real, the objectives of this world, they are real, their interests are real, to protect them, to further them, that is real. Means that yoga and kshema, that is real. So that is real, it's okay, it is endorsed. So how you should do that in such a way that you arrive at the gates of spirituality? That portion is dictated by the dharma. Where from dharma postulates that? It postulates on the basis of understanding of moksha only. It doesn't come, somebody doesn't invented some books. And that's why these are the treatises of this Smriti you follow. Because I think this is good. No, it is not like that. It is crafted, that constraint, that prohibition or that endorsement, you should do this or don't do this, vidhi and nishedh. They are in such a way so that collectively human being or mankind or that race, or at least where it is in force or it is in application, it will guide those collective masses of people to develop slowly and arrive at the gates of spirituality. You should do something and you should do not do something. So vidhi and nishedha. So dharma is of this nature. It has its spiritual end, moksha, in its mind, but it gives validity to everything else. So lokachar, deshachar, kalachar, they all become achara. Loka achara. Loka achara means how generally people do conventions. Pratha, parampara, rudhi. They are called as lokachar. Deshachar means they are practiced in particular places, like we do here. In suppose Konkan, and people of Pune will say, we don't do here, you do there. Or something, you go somewhere in Marathwada, they say, Pune people, you do that, we are not doing this. Our situation, our place is different. Where do you have water? So Kokani people, they will say, we have plenty of water. So everything they are doing with water. They say, we don't have water, we cannot follow these kinds of practices. Deshachar, Kalachar, at particular time in winter you do this, summer you don't do that, etc., etc., etc. Otherwise you will not survive, you will fall ill, or it will cause some other kinds of distresses, other kinds of problems. So everything comes and fits within the gamut of dharma. Because when it is constituted in that body, its dharma's maxim is bahujana hitaya, bahujana sukhaya. Maximum benefit for the maximum people. That's what dharma is trying to do. So ones who are too degenerated to consider this thought, they are escaped. They are free. They can do whatever they want. Those who are already transcended that and really entered into the spiritual dimension, even those people are escaping this. Dharma is not obligatory on them. No problem. So too superior and too inferior, they are not the subject of dharma. So dharma, kama, artha. Dharma, kama, arthan. In this world and in this pursuit, prasangena phalakankshi. Not that he is doing something out of total his disinterest. Prasangena means he is always phalakankshi. Bhagavan says, prasangena, here also not. So I thought prasangena is translated as occasionally. So because that word is used, so no, not occasionally. But in eventually, in that sense, prasangena shabda is used. Eventually he is phalakankshi. So dharma, kama and artha, definitely it is that person is phalakankshi. For certain kind of fruit only he is doing that. So here that when we see that endurance and constant perseverance of an individual in pursuits of these things and makes him do that, enables him do that, to persist in that endeavor, that fortitude is called as rajasika fortitude. The pursuit of the world, dharma, artha and kama. The pursuit of moksha, that would come by when your fortitude, when your endurance is sattvic. If it is rajasic, then you will get the world. What then? It put to us Mr. thinking, what might be the tamasic person? If your fortitude is tamasic, what that person must be pursuing? The one with the sattvic fortitude, he is pursuing moksha. Another person is pursuing dharma, kama, artha. World he is pursuing. What the tamasic fortitude will pursue? Where will the tamasic fortitude come into play? That Bhagavan says here in the 35th verse. Yaya swapnam bhayam shokam vishadam madamevacha na vimunchati durmedha dhruti sa partha tamasi. That dhruti, that fortitude, that endurance, that is tamasic, na vimunchati. Now, here Bhagavan says that here is also kind of endurance, but rather Bhagavan puts it in that way, not like that he don't want to leave that, but those things now don't leave him. That story you might have heard, that two mendicants, they were sitting on the bank of the Ganga, and Ganga river was flowing nicely. In the upper regions there must have been heavy rains, etc. So Ganga is flooding. And these two sadhus were discussing that on the other day, one of them went to some nice bhandara where they were given blankets. And this other mendicant who couldn't happen to go there, so he's regretting, even if I would have got the blanket, that would have been nice. I don't have a blanket because after a few weeks, winter is going to set in. So I would require a blanket. So that would be nice. So what does he say? Just by chance, that thought arises in his mind, and he sees that what blanket is flooding in the going in the river stream. And he says, see how God is constantly hearing you. As soon as the desire came in my heart, and he has sent that blanket. So blanket you can remove from the river and dry it up in as good as good blanket. No problem. Now this monk, this mendicant, he jumps into the river and goes into that half stream in the very heart of the stream, and what he sees, the river is quite wide, and he is now like when we have seen in Calcutta, etc., like so more than a kilometer wide kind of thing. So now he sees that his friend is there far, and but he is getting carried away with the blanket, and he thinks seems to be some problem, maybe something is stuck, and he's shouting from here, his other friend who is standing on the bank, that leave the blanket, and swim back, leave the blanket, don't go after it, because river is carrying you away. So somehow this friend in the water, he somehow catches his breath, and then he replies back from there that, I want to leave the blanket is not leaving me. So then somebody explains the story that it was not a blanket, it was a bear, black bear. It was getting flooded. As soon as this man reached him, that bear caught him. And now that bear was not letting him go, because bear is thinking that he is only my, some chance of survival. Now bear is clutching him. That is the story of na vimunchati durmedha. Durmedha, the medha, the buddhi, which has become dushta, which has become rogue, volatile and destructive. That is durmedha. Your intelligence has become self-destructive, destructive intelligence. And due to this fortitude, which causes that na vimunchati, that by which a stupid man does not give up sleep, fear, grief, despondency, and also overweening conceit, that madam evacha, that fortitude, O Partha, is tamasika. Swapnam, yes, swapnam is also referred to as the sleep. So definitely, very commonly, not occasionally, very commonly, swapnam is referred to the sleep. So the fortitude by which that person is not able to give up his sleep, bhayam, fear, shokam, that is grief, shoka is grief, vishada, that is despondency, and madam evacha, mada is that arrogance, conceit, and na vimunchati, not able to become free from them, does not give up or not able to escape from its clutches. That fortitude, that something, that faculty which keeps him going headlong into it, not able to stop, not able to return, that fortitude is tamasic. That endurance is tamasic. This is definitely the recipe for disaster and self-degradation, self-destruction. So fortitude, though it is considered as a great quality, but here Bhagavan is considered even that same quality, due to the presence and domination of one or other guna, it can behave in a completely different way. So it is the same fortitude. It is the same architecture which you have built up, which could be very useful for you. It can prove completely binding you, completely pulling you into that whirlpool. So you will have to be very careful that it is not taken over by this tamasika guna. So it is the same person, maybe at one point of time he comes to such kind of dejectedness, despondency, negative thoughts, and he wants to remain always gloomy. So that person, he might have already once upon a time a great hero. He had worked hard. He had developed that kind of willpower, endurance. Now the same person is behaving exactly opposite. At some point of time, something set in that chakra, and that tamas has completely taken over. Completely taken over. It is the same person. He is behaving like that. So tamasa. So this is what spiritual life teaches us. This is what Sri Ramakrishna says in the gospel. We find him saying that what these people, the spiritual giants, have always taught, especially dealing with these gunas, that you have some kind of control and it is not absolutely within your control. So that's why the denominations, the followers, dispensations, who follow this Dvaita and Vishishta Dvaita philosophy, especially starting with Ramanujacharya. And then this Dvaitis, starting with Vallabhacharya and all that, they became all the more too scrupulous, which Swamiji, Thakur and Mataji, these people, they all rejected this kind of philosophy, that too much taboo with touchability and non-touchability, purity and impurity. Everything become nauseating, that thing. Swamiji condemned these ideas when we read these lectures from Colombo to Almora, that we Indians, we Hindus, we have made touchability our religion. Our kitchen has become our temple, and our utensils have become our gods. We only our religion, what we know, that don't touch this, don't touch that. This is what our religion has become. No, it has to come up from that. We must understand its practical relevance, its utility. Especially Ramanujacharya, he gave great importance for the purity of food. Purity of food. And not only that, till say suppose 50, 100 years back, it was a quite common and accepted convention that many people who are believing in spiritual practices or who are living such kind of life, they many times used to cook their own food, not to be cooked by any other. So they will only accept a dry ration. They will not accept the cooked food. Whereas sannyasis are the other people who will never accept dry ration. And they will always accept the cooked food, whatever you give. Because he has avowed that he will not touch the fire. Touching the fire means you will have wood, you will have something to start the fire, you will have to protect it, and it considered that all of it, even say karma kanda or this whole sansar, it begins with that. So do not indulge in that. You don't cook your food and don't do anything to earn your food, otherwise you will again start one kind of family. Don't do that. So you have become sannyasi, we will give you some 2 quarters to fill your stomach. Don't do anything. You will not engage. So that is the promise sannyasi has to keep. But all other people, Vaishnavas and spiritual aspirants, it was very quite common conversation that they will take dry ration, including some wooden fuel, and with keeping 3 stones, etc., and taking some earthen vessels, etc. Even that is to be provided. Sri Ramakrishna's life, we see that there was permanent that kind of bhandar in that Kali temple at Dakshineshwar. If some people come, they request that there is that khajindar, he will provide him everything, dry ration, even that firewood, and even utensils. You wash, you cook, you eat, you clean, return it to the bhandar. So you are one person, so every person is cooking for himself. So idea of cooking was this food contamination and this food purity. This somehow, Swami said this in Karma Yoga, that any virtue stretched too far is another vice. We must understand this in spiritual life, that these means, they are means, what path you are following. Every other kind of discipline, it is a means. It means it is meant to be exploited to obtain your goal. Your means are not the end. Your means are not the end. You don't do the mistake. Only touching not this, I am Brahman, you are Shudra. That doesn't, that is not going to create any value. That is not spirituality. That's why, again, Swamiji said, go back to Upanishad. In that Mundaga Upanishad, when the disciple asked, Varuni, he asked to Bhrigu Rishi, Kasminnu Bhagavo Vijñate Sarvamidam Vigyatam Bhavati iti. And then he asked, so Bhrigu Rishi tells him that there are 2 kinds of Vidya. Para Chaiva Paracha. So there is one higher knowledge, Para, which is higher, and one which is not Apara. One higher knowledge and one which is ordinary knowledge. So what is ordinary knowledge? And Bhrigu Rishi then enlists whatever knowledge bodies were there at that time known to humankind. And he left nothing. He also included these very Vedas, in those which Vedas this Upanishad also comes. So they say all this is lower knowledge, including Vedas, including Jyotisha, Ganita, Vyakarana, astrology, everything. Jyotisha is astrology. All kinds of science, so meaning that whatever is known to human beings through our intellect, through our studies, through Guru Shishya Parampara, everything which can be learned, all this Vidya is the ordinary knowledge. This is the ordinary knowledge. Then definitely the question comes, then what is higher knowledge? Even if which is talking about Brahman, the highest reality, the spirituality, the spirit which is non-material, what is higher than that? What is higher knowledge? What is Paravidya? So Guru replies, Yad Aksharam Adhigamyate Sa Para. So that Vidya is only higher knowledge, only higher skill, only higher knowledge body, Paravidya, by which you can know that Aksharam. Aksharam referring to the Parabrahma, that highest reality. Meaning that no knowledge known through these books, that this is this memorization, understanding, knowing, talking is not the knowledge. You do that by which you realize that knowledge is only the higher knowledge. How he clearly distinguishes that. How he clearly distinguishes that. Now, meaning that whatever we might be doing, even your food, purity, impurity, it must cause spiritual growth. This means must translate into end, towards the end, towards your progress towards the end. You are going further, closer, nearer to that end, towards that realization of that ultimate truth. It must become real. That's why we use the word realization. It becomes real. Real. It is not something you see in samadhi and then it is no more. So, the means, therefore, whatever we try, whatever we do, these teachers have taught us one thing, that these gunas, whatsoever may be, they may sattviki, when we discuss them in this 14th chapter, when these gunas are told, their qualities are told, one quality is also told about each guna, how they binds each individual. Like sukha is also cause of bondage because it is guna ultimately, it is quality, it will bind, it is material, it is not spirit. Guna is not spirit. Guna is the very essence of materiality. From gunas, everything has become. Trigunamayir bhavai, this 7th chapter, this Maya is referred in this way. 7th chapter. Where Bhagavan says, very wonderful ideas which we have discussed. The 7th chapter is also a very great chapter. Acha, this is the different verse. Acha, yes. This is the 13th verse, this is 14th verse. Tribhir gunamayair bhavai ebhi sarvamidam jagat mohitam nabhijanati mamebhya paramavyayam. And then he says, Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. It is divine, this my maya, which is formed of gunas. Whole gamut of this illusion, what you see, it is made up of gunas. It is made up of gunas. So Sankhya says, when a person realizes, then what happens to gunas? They go to layas. They, like these three are vibrating on 3 frequencies, they stop their vibrations and they as if become one and they goes to laya. And therefore there is no creation. How wonderful ideas. How these people must have imagined at that time is unbelievable. That whole creation is just vibrations of these 3 gunas. And Bhagavan says, Sri Ramakrishna says, turn its head. Like he says, even tamas is also important. If you are in tamas, you can try for rajas, from rajas you try for sattva, but tamas itself can be exploited for the God realization. In about sattva, Bhagavan said, like what is it, where you have to be cautious? Sukha sangyena badnati jnana sangyena chanaga. That Sri Ramakrishna told the story of 3 robbers. Somebody want to kill him, somebody want to just bind him, somebody sets him, takes him to the edge of the forest, let him go. So that is a sattvika guna, but even sattvika guna is also a robber. It is also, gunas are doshapurna. They are part of this materiality, this material illusion. So even it has fault. What fault is there? It can bind an individual by attachment to pleasure or by attachment to knowledge. How great that you can be attached to knowledge and it can become your bondage. Something unimaginable. That knowledge, attachment to knowledge could be a bondage and person can get stuck there. A wonderful idea. That knowledge can become bondage. Knowledge can become bondage. So even sattvika, rajasika, tamasika. So Sri Ramakrishna said that turn its head. That give it a direction, give it the correct direction. That tamas you can exploit. Yes, if you would not have tamas, you would not be able to sleep. If you would not have rajas, you would not be able to act. If you would not have sattva, you would not be able to understand anything. So this is the creation. It must be, all these gunas must be exploited to our best advantage. Sattva, rajas, tamas. So this is dhruti. Then here Bhagavan will discuss few more ideas about sukha. Yes, this is the last idea in this set, and then there are few verses, and then from verse 45 onwards, wonderful set of verses which is going to the conclusion. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.